Hey everyone, so glad you're here to join us for this kind of an update, a ZLC update on some things that we've been working on. We want to break this time together down into three areas. First, I'm going to share with you some leadership training that I've done, and it's kind of a great little format for whether you want to do a keynote or even if you're not certified in leadership, this is material that you already have. So this is already found in your core programs of ZLC, what you went through in the class, so you can put this presentation together to fit your needs. I wanted to show you the outline of that. I've come up with a few slides that'll help you. And then after that, we're going to talk about some of the things that are coming up with ZLC, our STAR referral program that we're excited about here, and I just want to put it front of brain for you because it makes a huge impact on the people out there, and it can benefit you and it can benefit Ziglar, and especially those that you refer. And then at the end, we're going to do Q&A. So if a question comes up to your mind during this time, on the top right-hand corner of your screen, there is a question box. And so what you do is you type your question into there, and then you send it in, and then Jill Tibbles is going to get that. Yay, Jill! She's on Austin right now watching this. She fields all of those questions. She sends them to me right here on my laptop, which I'm pointing at right now. I'll be able to get your question. We'll answer those questions as we go. And actually, Kanya is in here too. So if you ask the hard questions, Kanya's actually going to stand up and answer those. So I'm looking forward to that. That's better than me just making up the answer. So that's the schedule. Let's get right into it. First off, I just want to thank you for taking this time. I hope many of you are enjoying a little bit of lunch right now as we go through this. But I wanted to share with you a program that we did here at the office a couple of weeks ago, and then how it kind of generated this. We now have two leadership programs that Jill put together. Matt Rush and Mark Turner had a big input in those. And it really is going to start off as one leadership program, and it just grew and grew and grew, and it's two. One of them is called Top Performance Leadership. The other one is Significant Leadership. And one of them is more tactical, one of them is more philosophical. But anyway, it grew and grew. So last week, or a little over a week ago, we had a leadership class right here in the office that was only a half day long. And what I did is I took some components from both of those courses into this half day long program, which, by the way, are core components of what you learned in the ZLC class. For example, I covered the performance formula, the zombie talk on engagement. I talked about mindset and attitude, and then I talked about influence, the Zig Ziglar influence formula. Those are in our new leadership programs, but we also covered those in ZLC, and I believe you have the PowerPoints for each of those in your back office. So here's what happened, is I'm trying to take all this content and put it into a shorter program, and then I had to wrap up the day, and I'm thinking, how can I wrap up this day in a way that kind of draws it all together? And when I did that, I came up with 4 points, and I call it the Ziglar Leadership Formula, which I'm now working on is going to be a keynote speech that I give. So I wanted to show this to you because you have all the materials in front of you, and of course, so many of you are already, seasoned presenters, you're experts in your own right, in your own field. You can add your own stories to this. I just felt like this is a great way when somebody says, so what is Ziglar leadership all about? Why is it different? Why is it better? What's unique? Here we go. So the first thing in the leadership formula is input. So as a leader, this is foundational. This is what we talk about. In order to be the right kind of leader, you've got to have the right kind of input. You've got to lead by example, and the only way to lead by example is to have within you, the be, do, and have. You got to have the be part already there. So you've got to have that inside of you to begin. So input, what you feed your mind determines your appetite. You are what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind. You can change what you are. You can change where you are by changing what goes into your mind. So when you talk about being the right kind of leader, it's all about input. And so when I'm thinking about my presentation, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that are in building your best you and building winning relationships and goal setting and achieving. All of those things talk about foundationally, especially building your best you, about how to have the right kind of input, the right kind of friends, making sure you're listening to and reading the right things. There are numerous quotes from Dad on the choices that you make, on the inputs that have into you. So think about this. As a leader, you're going to have the right input, which is going to expand out into the way you behave. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting. So with the right kind of input being the right kind of leader, this allows you, this is slide number 2, to move to influence. You see, until you're the right kind of person with integrity and character and building trust, the influence you have is going to be limited. So we want to have, oh, look at that. Our computer is acting up on us. So let's go ahead and just X that out there. Isn't this awesome? I love live webcasts. When we do this, we have the right kind of input. We want to make sure that you have the right system to follow. So this is where I talked about the Zig Ziglar secret influence formula, right? So if I'm the right kind of person and I'm trying to influence somebody down the path to leadership, I want to make sure that I understand how to influence. And remember this is something that we covered in ZLC. The secret Zig Ziglar influence formula is hope, identity, will, skill, and refill. That's influence. And for me, when I do a keynote, what I want to focus on is the first 2 quite a bit, and I can kind of go over the last 3 quickly, but here's what I mean by that. Every time we want to influence somebody, we've got to give them a compelling reason that they want to be influenced. And if they don't have any hope, you can't move them anywhere. So the first key is hope. So Dad always used this. You've heard this before. How many of you today here believe there's something you can do in your personal, family, business, or spiritual lives in the next week that'll make things worse? Then you re-ask the question, how many of you believe there's something you can do in the personal, family, or spiritual lives in the next week that'll make things better? Just to sum that up, in your own mind, without even realizing it, you've determined that you have the power to make things better or worse, and the choice is yours. That's where hope is born. And then identity is the second piece of influence. You see, when people identify with you, they're far more likely to follow through and do what you recommend. Now, the example that I use here is 2 studies that I found in the book True Freedom by Stephen Fry. And here's what he said. The first one, I'm sorry, wrong book. This is the book, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. So Daniel Coyle in his book said this. He said he studied these world-class athletes, musicians, experts in their areas, and he tried to figure out what made them a champion. The first one that he discovered is that influence and identity go hand in hand. You see, the world-class athletes who had world record speed, in fact, he studied the last 10 world record holders of the 100-meter race, and what he discovered is that 9 out of 10 of them came from very large families. And not only that, but they were the last born or second to last born of that family, meaning they were 8 of 8 or 7 of 8 or 9 of 9 or 5 of 6. And so when he went to study them, he asked himself, how come they're fast? Well, it's a gene pool, it's a perfect specimen for him to go examine, because he figured that if they're fast, their brothers and sisters must be fast, right? Because the gene pool is the same and the environment that they grow up is the same. And what he discovered is that none of the brothers or sisters were fast. Only that one person had that world record speed. And what he discovered then is that in the brain's growth process, there's a time in your life when you look up to see people who, when you're growing up, maybe 1, 1.5, 2 years old, they're not really sure when that window is, and you look up and you see your older brothers and sisters, and they're carbon copies of yourself, and you think to yourself, they're fast, therefore I must be fast, because the brain has no way of understanding that they're fast because they're bigger or they're older. You see, the identity in that place is they're fast, therefore I'm fast. The other example of identity that I talked about was from that Daniel Coyle book, The Talent Code, is when they were in the classroom doing the higher branch of algebra, where they took the class and they divided it in half, right? And they did the lesson, they taught the students how to do this branch of algebra, and they said that this branch of algebra was discovered by John Edwards in 1852 in Edinburgh, Scotland. And after they did the class and the lessons, he handed out the test. And in the middle of the test, if you remember, was the bio of John Edwards. And half the class, when they got the test with the bio, the birthday of John Edwards was the same birthday that they had. And then the other half of the class, the birthdays were random in the bio. What they discovered is that the students who had the same birthday as John Edwards, they worked on the questions 30% longer. And this is where I point out that as a leader, Your greatest influence is your identity. And when you're transparent, when you're trustworthy and you have integrity, and you're able to share your story from beginning to end, the scars and the things that you've been through and overcome, what happens is the people in the room start to identify with you. And in order to have influence, that means that people are going to take action and follow through on what you say. And so we go from input, which creates the right kind of person, to influence, which means if you want to maximize your influence as a leader, you've got to be willing to share who you are. And this was Dad's secret when he stood up on the stage. Remember, he would tell his story. He moved from Alabama, lower Alabama, to Yazoo City. His dad died when he was 5. He went to work when he was 6. He was raised by his mother, who had a 5th grade education. You see all these things? And then he didn't do well in school. He went into the Navy. He got out. He went to college. He never did well in college. And then he started off and never graduated from college. Then he started off in sales, and for 2.5 years in sales, he didn't sell anything. And then his life changed because somebody spoke into his life. They believed in him. And what happens to the room at that point, who heard Dad speak, is they would think, well, if he can, I can. And that's where that identity came from. That's where Dad's influence was able to move them into action. So as a leader, when you're presenting, when you create that story of yourself, the obstacles you've had to overcome, the trials you've been through, when you reveal who you are, that gives you influence. So if you're doing a keynote to business owners or to leaders and you're explaining to them how they can have influence, this is why they want to do it. Why? Because influence leads to action. Now we go from influence to the next step, which is dream. You see, if I want to motivate and I want to have people dream, that's on the next slide there, you will see that when people start to envision what they want to have and become, things really start to take action and have power with them. I was on a conference call yesterday actually in Scotland as a video conference to a large group of people, and they said, what's the most powerful thing that a leader can have? And I said, you know what, I think a leader needs to have a dream. They need to have something, the vision that they're going for. And once they demonstrate that they have a dream, that they have a vision for where they're leading people to, then they can turn around and find out what the dreams are of the people that work for them and help those dreams come true. What am I talking about here? Hey, this is the zombie talk. I think all of us are familiar with that zombie talk about how we want people to work for a dream instead of a paycheck. So you use your influence to help somebody discover their own personal dream. And then you get dream alignment to where what they're doing when they work on their own dream supports the company or the organization or the team or the community that they're in. So we go from influence, becoming the right kind of person, leading by example. That allows our influence to go up, right? Input to influence. Influence, now that we're getting people to take action, what do we want them to take action on? We want them to take action on their dreams. We want to align as a leader that achieving their dream is in alignment with the company's mission and goals and objectives being accomplished. So if you share with them more elements of the zombie talk and how engagement happens when people have a dream and how dream alignment happens when the company goal and their personal dream coincide. Now what's the next part? Oh, it's simple. It's called performance. You see, now I have a dream. Just imagine this. You're a leader, right? And you've built yourself up. You've gotten the right input. You've used your influence. You've become transparent. You're motivating people to do, be, and have more than they thought possible. And you do that by helping them discover their dream. And now you're putting in steps to help them achieve that dream. Now that person's going to say, well, how do I get my dream faster? It starts with performance. And this is where I shared with them the performance formula. Attitude times effort times skill equals performance. And here's the key part. When you look at the performance formula and people understand, hey, I got to have the right attitude, I got to have the right effort, I got to have the right skill. But you see, it's hard to always motivate yourself to being a 3 in each one of those categories unless you have a compelling why. And that why, I know the word for that, is the dream. So when you look at this whole map, input, influence, dream, performance, these are things that you already have. These are ways that you can motivate and inspire other people. So the next time I go out and do a keynote, I'm going to use this leadership formula kind of as the backbone for what we do. Now remember this, whenever you build a presentation to go in, whether it's short or long, you want to kind of have this big structure that you put the presentation on top of. Here it is. What's the problem out there? You know, golly, you know, there's a problem out there. People are unmotivated, you know, they're just not working, or I can't get my team to engage, you know, they're wandering around. Well then, so that's number one, what's the problem? Number two, we have got to understand that we need to get them to move into action, right? And if we don't, there's consequences. So number two is consequences. Hey, what's the consequence of people just wandering around like zombies? Well, we've got lower productivity, we've got more quality incidences, we've got higher turnover. There's all those reasons. But guess what? At Ziglar, as a ZLC trainer, speaker, I have the solution to that. I can come out there and show you not only the cost of doing nothing, which is the consequences, but how we can come in and make a difference with your people. Why do we do that? How do we do that? Well, first we share with them what it means to dream, right? And then how to move into performance. So this is the big framework that your talk sits on. Problem, consequences, solution, and why you are uniquely qualified to be the one to bring that solution. That's the framework that I wanted to give you. I just wanted to spend about 20 minutes on that. We can do questions at the end on this particular thing if you would like, but just remember this formula. It's a great way to look at how Ziglar and all the tools that you already have allow you to help other organizations grow. For those of you who are certified in our leadership program, this is a great way to introduce it. Our goal in doing this talk around these elements was to get companies to have us come in and pay for and engage us with the whole full day or 2-day course. So there you go. The second thing that we wanted to cover today is all the things that are coming up. The first thing is we have the Ziglar Legacy Certification course, which is July 13th through 17th. Kanye, how many people do we have who are coming over for that? Just a few right now?
We've got 12 confirmed.
We've got
2 more.
We've got 12 confirmed. How many alumni do we have coming back?
We have up to 7 depending on which day that you ask.
Okay.
So we've got room for about 1 more.
So if you want to come, we still have room for 1 more as an alumni. You want to come in. May I recommend that not only do you come, but you smooth talk one of your friends to actually go through the certification class while you're there. What an awesome thing. Don't forget that we have the STAR referral program, not only for ZLC certification, which is 10%, but also for anybody that you refer to Michael or Margaret, who it turns into more of a corporate training. So it could be a keynote presentation, a sales class, or something like that. If you run across something like that and you turn that in through the form, you're going to get a 10% referral fee on that first piece of business.
How much is that, Tom?
10%.
Really?
Really? 10%.
Of everything?
On the first sale, no matter how big that first sale is. 10%.
And how much are you booking for, Tom?
So, yeah, my fee is $10,000. So, and that's in the U.S. $20,000 internationally. So, oh, and something cool is I'm going to be going to South Africa for a presentation into September, and in a few weeks I'm leaving over for Australia. So I get to go see Mahongo and Eric as well. I'm going to be speaking for Mahongo, and I'm going to be meeting up with Eric in Sydney, I believe, or no, Melbourne. He's in Melbourne. So if you guys are watching, hey, thumbs up. I can't wait to see you and hug you and see you there. The Ziglar Legacy Certification course, the next one is September 14th through 18th. That's filling up as well. We always have a little bit slower in the summer, but the reality is we need to be filling each one of these up. So anybody that you know, and also if you want to come back as an alumni, just write that down because we would love to have you back in. It's so much fun that we have here. Always glad to see you. And then the last course that we have is November 16th through the 20th. We have a few programs that we want to talk to you about. Now, as a certified trainer, anytime we do training here in the office where we're doing public courses like presentation skills or our sales courses, as a certified trainer, you can come to these for half price. We have the Ziglar Leadership Success course, which is going to be July 20th. We would love to see you there. Another leadership success on August 19th. We have some selling courses, Sell by Design on July 21st, Sell by Design on August 20th.
Don't forget to tell them where those are in August.
Yep. And the ones in August are in Houston. So Rodney, you guys who are down there, if you want to help support, you might know some people who want to go and would benefit from that class. Guess what? If you refer somebody to one of those classes, what do they get?
10%.
10%. You know, Kanya's right over here. You should come in here and smile. Yes. All right. We have a Ziglar Business Owner Boot Camp, which is going to be September 24th and 25th. That's also a 10% referral fee. That's Howard and I do that, and we're really working with small business owners. Now, our criteria for that, just so you know what we're looking for, is we're looking for a business that's been in business already 2 to 3 years. They have employees, and they're doing at least $400,000 in revenue. Really, that $750 to $2 million is kind of the sweet spot. That's the ideal prospect for us. Many people who've come in through the business owner side have ended up in ZLC, and we've had ZLC people move over to the business inner circle coaching that we do. And the big one here that there's two big ones here that are coming.
There's more. There's lots more, Tom.
Oh my gosh. Now this one I'm very excited about. Actually, I'm excited about all these. So and when I say very, I mean, you know, very. Ziglar Speakers Institute. We have for years known that if we hosted an event here at Ziglar that catered just to people who wanted to be effective platform speakers, this is a different category than somebody who wants to train. This is somebody who's out there speaking and they want to wow the crowd for an hour. It could be 50 people, it could be 5,000 people. We've known that if we could take Zig's principles, how he did it, how he structured his speech, how he engineered the room, how he prepared, how he built the presentation, how he planned for all the things that could go wrong in advance so that he was ready, we knew we would have a winner. Well, Jason Friend came through our last certification. Jason has done over 5,000 keynotes around the world. He is an amazing presenter. Those of you who went through the course with him, you know what I'm talking about. He's spoken to as many as 40,000 people in an audience. He came to us with this idea. I knew it was a good idea because it's come up to us before in the past, and he said, I have the curriculum for you. He wrote the curriculum, sent it to me. When I read it, the whole time my jaw is open.
It is jaw-dropping.
It's jaw-droppingly good, and the reason I say that is it sounds 100% Ziglar, because it is. But here's what's the best part. Nothing in there is repeated from anything that you've ever done. It is a cool program. It's going to be 3 days right here in our headquarters, how to give and deliver the most awesome keynotes from soup to nuts. We're going to be holding a webcast with Jason, or a webinar, and he's going to do it just for our ZLCers who are interested to really explain the course, go over the curriculum and everything. But I want you to tag October 19th through the 21st for that. That's going to be a very powerful time. The investment for that is going to be $5,000, but the first course that we have is going to be $2,500. This is not a certification class. You do not have to be certified to come to this. You're not going to be certified to go out and teach this program. This is for you if you want to take your keynote speaking to the next level and learn from the best. Then we have, because of popular demand, we've had so many people request this, we're going to be doing our coaching certification again, which is going to be October 22nd and 23rd.
Same week.
Same week, yeah. So if you want to come to both, that's going to be awesome. How many coaches do we have now certified for
We
coaching?
have 11 coaches that came through the program, and you need to get your bios and your pictures into me now because the webpage is almost finished. So you know.
Right. So for those of you who may not have heard, what we're doing is if you are a Ziglar certified coach, one of the things that we give as an option to you, it's up to you if you want to do this or not, you can allow us to sell coaching, and then if the client picks you or we recommend you, then we feed that coaching to you. Now we have a standard rate that we'll pay you, which if you have not heard about this, we'll share it with you. Basically what it is, it's about 30% of what we sell it for, and it's a minimum of $100 per session that you do. So it's not exclusive. It means you can go out and sell coaching on your own. So if you're looking to get your branding out there or your name out there as part of the Ziglar coaching staff, it's an option to you. For those of you who are considering going into coaching, it's just an added way for you to build that up a little bit. But our team, Michael and Margaret, are going to be selling coaching to the general population, and we need coaches to go out and fill that position. So we have certified coaches. Once again, in order to be a ZLC certified coach, you have to go through the core ZLC course first. So that means that we kind of you have to be ZLC certified to go out and do that.
You got to be our people.
You got to be our people. And we're just starting on that. We're excited. So if you want to be a part of that, you're already Ziegler certified as a coach, then what we need from you is your bio, your headshot, and all that, so we can put you on our page. Anything else here that we're missing?
We're going to do another essential presentation skills coming up in the fall. There's going to be 2 of those. And then we will be doing more of the Sell by Design also in the fall. If you look on our website in the drop-down menu, it's got everything listed out in there. You get a 10% commission off of each one. I mean, you have opportunities galore here. You're an ambassador already for Ziegler. You know what we do. You know how we do it. So you can market us well and get a thank you for actually doing that.
Okay, so the first question we have, make sure if you haven't sent in your questions, you go ahead and send them in. The first question we have is, will this webcast be put in the back office? Yes, it will.
Yes.
I like that kind of question because I think everybody's kind of getting the idea that anything we do is going in the back office. So if you're not using your ZieglerCertified.com site, that's okay. You can use your own website, but you still need to have your login initials and everything so you can go into the back office to get all this information. And you're also going to want your affiliate code information.
Yes, yes you are.
Because when you send an email out, hey, get How to Stay Motivated or get the Performance Planner or join Ziegler at the Sell by Design program to your own list, if you choose to do that, then that makes you eligible for commission on those.
So just to be clear on that, what he's saying is when you put a link out there and say, hey, I thought you might be interested in this, and you're giving them a link back to our website, you're going to want your affiliate code at the end of that link, because if they link through there and they go ahead and register right there, you're going to get the credit for that as an affiliate and get your 10% there.
Right. So here's a question. How much is the coaching certification? The coaching certification is $2,500. But I want to be clear, it includes 2 sets of coaching material. The first set, and these are what the person who goes through the coaching gets. They get a How to Stay Motivated, they get a performance planner, they get the Seat to Top book, and they get the coaching guide. Now the coaching guide, David Wright did a beautiful job of creating 3 different sets of the coaching guide. A 6-session guide, a 12-session guide, and a 24-session guide. And it's because everybody has a different need. Now what we're encouraging our coaches to do is to sell either the 24 or the 12-session program. The reason for that is it takes that amount of time for people to start getting results. And when you think about it strategically and logically, the coaching process should be a never-ending thing until the person being coached is no longer getting results or they've outgrown that particular coach for this time in their life. And so when somebody's investing in coaching, they should be able to look back at time frames in their life every quarter and say, hey, did I get a bigger return out of my investment in coaching than I put in? And if the answer is yes, then they should continue on coaching. Many people who go through coaching will stay with the coach 1 to 2 years. You have the materials at your disposal through this to go out and do that. So what that means is if you sell 2 coaching programs out of your certification, you have all the materials for it, you've made your investment back. We are starting our coaching offer at, I can't remember, was it for the 6 session it's $2,700? Mm-hmm. For the 12 session it is $5,200, I think.
$5,200.
I think so.
And then you're 9 for the 24.
And then it's 24 sessions is $9,000, and then we have a little bit of a special if they pay all up front versus per month based on the number of sessions they have. We've had great success already. I know Tony Cooper's already signed up 4 in coaching. I think Richard Morris signed up 1 within 24 hours of leaving the building, something like that.
Jacob's got some going on. Matt came through the course and he was like, I just kind of came through just because. He left, he's like, this is the greatest thing ever. So it is a very, very well done course and something that you will be able to share with pride and be able to get a good result with your client out of.
Yep, absolutely 100% turned on by the coaching process. And what you sell the coaching for, that's up to you. So at Ziegler, we kind of put a market level price point for it, and most people are telling us that we're a little low. So just to give you an idea of what that is, that's why we put it there. We're going to begin to market that as soon as we get our website up. Let's see, how much is the Speaker Institute? Is it exclusively ZLC or open to the public? No, the Speaker Institute is open to the public. We get literally dozens of requests on a monthly basis on how do I become a great speaker. These are people who, you know, they're not really focused on training. They don't like the idea of going in and doing a whole day on training. I personally love training. I like to see people's lives change while I'm in front of them. And you get that experience when you train people. Let me just back up a second. Training is awesome. Coaching takes training to the whole nother level, because now you're working with somebody for 3 months or longer, and you can really see them grow and progress. So the people who are interested in the Speakers Institute are the ones who want to go in and deliver a powerful 30, 45-minute, hour and 15-minute keynote that gets the crowd up applauding. It gets recognition. It's that, you know, it's that adrenaline rush. It's that excitement. Just think of Zig Ziglar when you think of what a Speakers Institute person would be. So they're not getting a certification. They're learning how to do it. So when people ask you, well, what does Ziglar do? Just remember this. This is what I say. At Ziglar, we have 2 kinds of programs. We have success programs. Success programs help you get better and become better skilled and more professional so that you can enjoy all the things that life has to offer. So the Speakers Institute is kind of a success program. A significance program is when we equip you to help someone else be or do or have more than they thought possible. And that's where our certifications come in. So the speaker program is more of a success program. We're helping people become more successful at presenting. Now, of course, we're going to teach them how to be significant while they're there, but it's not truly a significance program like a certification is. Certification is where we equip you to go out and teach that program. Let's see. What happened with the social media blitz that Matt and Jacob were going to do with the coaching? I think it was going to be last week. Yes, they did. They had a great turnout. I know that they sold one for sure.
They're still in the process of follow-up. So they've gotten their leads now. He's already closed one of those, and they're going through the rest of their leads. I think they had 40 in attendance at their webinar.
I think he closed one and got payment within 72 hours of the thing. So it's going through the funnel.
He's very excited.
They're pumped about that, which, by the way, was more than they invested in the advertising to make that happen. So that's always a good sign when you can get an immediate return. How does Ziglar differentiate between coaching and consulting? Are there specific areas of focus I can specialize in for coaching? For example, business, leadership, succession, strategic planning, and goal setting. You know, let me just give you my definition of consulting. Consulting is when I go into a business and I'm looking at all the business challenges. I might be dealing with multiple people, and they ask for a solution, which could be working with people, or it could be a new system, a new strategy. It could be a business model. It could be all different kinds of things. Usually you do that on a per day basis or a per hour basis. It's usually project focused. Coaching is one-on-one. So what we're talking about is coaching. And in the beginning, the platform that we're on is helping that person grow as an individual so they can do everything that they want to do more successfully. But what happens with a great coach is the coaching becomes about that person and the goals that they want to achieve. So in the Ziglar coaching model, goal setting is a big part of it. And so once we understand what that individual wants to achieve, we tailor our coaching towards that. So if somebody comes in and they want to lose weight, you could be a fitness coach around the goal setting principles, right? Block in a mailbox. If they want to grow their business, you can start understanding what that is. What we encourage you to do, though, is to build your coaching expertise based on your own personal track record of success. Because when you stay in your track record of success, things that you've had success with in the past, you're going to be more effective as a coach. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's exactly right. I just wanted to kind of add that. I'm glad you added that at the end. And you're going to have people, you're going to want to coach somebody that's going through something you've already gone through. And that's going to make you a much more effective coach. So you're going to be able to teach people something that you've already learned. And so you are going to kind of be your own specialist. You're going to have that little bit of niche. You know, Michael Newman's going to be more of an executive coach because he's going to be coaching people who've owned their own businesses or trying to own their own businesses. You know, it just depends on what your expertise is. And so you want to stay with that. It's kind of like writers, you know, you write what you know, coach what you know.
Yep. One of the questions was on the price for the Ziglar Speakers Institute. We are having an introductory price of $2,500, and then based on the first event and the success of it, our plan is to go to $5,000. And so I encourage you, if you want to come through that, or if you know a speaker who wants to come through that, let them know about this, because the referral fee is part of that. Now, my hope is that out of that group of people who come in from the general population who want to be a dynamic speaker, the reason they're attracted to Ziglar is two things. One, there's never been a more powerful, effective motivational speaker than Zig Ziglar. And number two, if they could pattern their life out of somebody and live a life of integrity and character, they'd want it to be Zig Ziglar. Well, to me, that makes them perfect people for ZLC. So in the Speaker Institute process, they're going to learn about Ziglar Legacy certification. So if you were to invite somebody, or you know a speaker who you think this would be perfect for as a referral, and they come, then you get a referral fee for the Speakers Institute. And then if they turn around and they invest in ZLC, guess what? You get a referral fee for that as well. I hope you can see what our strategy is. We're following the things that we teach through our Inner Circle business training, which is the absolute best client we can have is a client who is referred by one of our happy clients right now. And so we can do all the marketing in the world we want, and we can bring people in, and we can use marketing and tactics and all those things to our advantage, and we do those ethically. And as good as we are at that, the fit is still not as good as if it's a referral from one of you. And that's why it's so important for you to keep your eyes and ears open, because the life-changing material we have, we need to share it with the world, and we've got about 7,200,000,000 people to go. So we've got lots of room for growth here, and we need your help. Let's see, any other questions here? Well,
speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes, I'm going to give it a second as we wrap up. Always things are going on that are exciting. Don't hesitate to call us, Facebook us, email us if you have questions, if you want to know something. If you say, golly, I wish this was going on, or what about that, just let us know that. We are, you know, we've done so much improvement. When you think about when we started and you now look at ZiglarCertified.com, the back office of the resources that are there, the marketing support that's in there, I want to encourage you, if you haven't pulled it out, go watch, you know, the near marketing, how to book your, you know, first public paid event through that performance formula strategy. I mean, it's just a great way. The luncheon, the VIP breakfast with the near people, the who, all of those things are designed in there. But once again, unless we take action on it, it's hard to make those things happen. That's what I love about coaching, is because coaching is a relationship sale. People will see you speak, they'll know you from what you do, and a lot of times they'll say, how did you get where you are? And you can honestly look at them and say, hey, I'm a certified trainer, you know, and I've been coached, I've worked with developing myself, and you know, I think that's what everybody needs to do. So if something's holding you back from your dream, or there's a block, then you need to be considering a coach. And then they'll say, well, who would that be? So here's the thing that's pretty cool. Did you know that if you referred somebody in for coaching, that you could get a referral on that as well? And one of your fellow ZLCers who's certified could be the one who trains that, who coaches that. So even if you're not certified in coaching, if you see somebody who would really benefit from that, I want you to look at your own brothers and sisters, your adopted family, as people who could provide that service. We would love to make that connection.
Christine Pata followed the 90-day formula in the back on the back office, and she was just saying how she's gone ahead now and rented her space and gotten her furniture, and that's what was the catalyst for her to get everything going, and now she's gotten her business going. We're giving you guys as many tools as we can, as often as we can, as fast as we can. Follow the tools. They're there. They're formulated for you. They're designed to make you guys succeed. Follow the tools. Call us if you have questions. If you find something that's confusing, let us know. We're here for you, and we're really trying to help make you guys as successful as possible.
And we had a question, when are the dates for the Houston training courses? So we're doing Sell by Design on August 20th. and we're doing the leadership program, which is a half day on the 19th. So just to give you some strategy behind that, Michael and Margaret went down to Houston. They were there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They had face-to-face appointments with a lot of Ziglar existing accounts and prospects that we've been working on. They went in, they asked them, how are you doing? And they had a reason to go in. Hey, we're having these 2 classes down here. And so we're trying to fill the classes with people who we're currently working on. We would love for you to come or to refer people to come so we can expand our bandwidth. So one of them's a leadership class, one of them is a sales class. If you want to come to those, once again, you're invited. And as a ZLCer, you can come in as half. And if you want to, what I would say in Houston is if you were able to invite a qualified prospect to come, we'd have you come as our guest because you referred them in. So you'll get the referral fee and we'll pay your way in that class. We just want to make sure that it's a win for those who are going through the course and that you benefit from it as well. Brian does a fantastic job in sales, as you guys know, so imagine spending a whole day with him. Anybody who you referred would benefit from that. Now, let's see, you mentioned some services that Margaret offers to ZLC, can refer people to her. Let's see. You mentioned some services that Margaret offers so ZLC can refer people to her. What I mean by that is whichever salesperson, Margaret or Michael, brought you in, when you have somebody who you think could benefit from Ziglar services, then you'll want to email or call Michael or Margaret. You're going to want to go to the back office in your Ziglar certified site and fill out the STAR referral program form. Send it to Michael or Margaret as a lead. We'll track that lead. We'll put it in our system. Then that way you can communicate and you can say, hey, I'm talking to so-and-so. They're a sales organization. What they need is sales training. I think Brian would be perfect. That's all you got to do. They will call. Margaret would call and say, hey, I was, Nikki, Nikki advised me that you were interested in this, and I'd like to talk to you about what your needs are. That's how that works. So Michael and Margaret represent all of the Ziglar certified, all of the Ziglar content and courses. What we're saying here is that if you find a referral, somebody who you want to help, but you're not able to personally provide that service, let us partner with you to do that. And when we do that, what we'll make sure is that if there's something in the future with them that you're the perfect solution for, we'll make sure that you get that opportunity, right? This is us teaming up to work together on that.
Inner Circle Mastermind on location, if you have business owners?
Yes. Here's this question actually came up.
Oh, sorry.
Where do I get more information for Born to Win for business leaders? We do programs with Howard and myself. We call it the ZBob Ziglar Business Owner Boot Camp. For 2 years, we did the Ziglar Born to Win workshop. And then now we're doing something new. We're going to market. It's called the Ziglar Inner Circle Mastermind. And now this is kind of a cool format. Some of you have already known. If you're in Inner Circle, you may have heard about this, or if you were paying attention to the ZLC things that Howard posted. If you know a business owner who would be a great prospect for coming into the Inner Circle, then you can be a part of this and you refer them in and you're going to get referral rewards for that, just like you do with the STAR program. But we're going to be coming out to different cities. I know we're going to Portland, we're going to Seattle, we're looking at Pigeon Forge, we're looking at Atlanta. I can't remember the other. We're going to 6 cities.
I'm sorry, Washington.
Yeah.
Seattle, Washington,
Seattle,
Oregon,
Portland, Atlanta, Pigeon Forge,
and Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge, yes. So if you know somebody who is a business owner in one of those communities, or you feel like you could get a group of 20, then you need to raise your hand and say, hey, I want to sponsor one of these. What does it mean to sponsor one? It means that you would send personal invitations out to the business owners in the community that you know. Howard and I come in, we handle all the location logistics and all that. You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is personally invite business owners to come. I know in some locations we have 4 or 5 Inner Circle / ZLC members who are kind of combining together, and each one of them is going to bring 3 or 4. It's a great way for us to come into your community and do things for you. But once again, this is more on the business owner side. Now, the reason I like it for ZLC is when we get a business owner in and their business turns around and it's based on the Ziglar principles and our partnership with Howard, then they're a great prospect to be a Ziegler certified trainer. Many of them just become a ZLC trainer, and they're mainly training in their own company, which is fantastic. It just gets the word out even more. We don't have the information on those locations and content yet for the business owner, what we're calling the Ziegler Inner Circle Mastermind. We don't have that information yet. And once again, that's not going to be publicly marketed. It's going to be marketed through invitation only. It's a qualification. So if you send somebody an invitation, it means that you know that their business is big enough, they've been in business long enough, they have employees, they have the revenue to be a prospect for that. So we're trying to really just target in and make sure the right people come to those. Let me see. I think that's all the questions. And this has been good.
It's been awesome.
So I appreciate you guys for coming. This will be in the back office. It may take a week or so for us to put it in the right content and right format to put it in the back office, but it'll be there soon. For those of you who are waiting on the recertification class, Andre, I can't believe it, but he took a 2-week vacation to Disney World. So if you follow him on Facebook, you're seeing pages. He's got about halfway through it. So I'm hopeful within the next 2 weeks we'll get that posted up in the back office. Don't worry, for those of you who are looking to be recertified going through that online course, you're not late, you're not tardy. You know, the clock doesn't start or anything until we get that posted up, but that is coming. And yeah, we're going to let everybody know when these events are available. Just stay tuned to the alumni page. Make sure you're on the Ziegler newsletter. Oh, and by the way, our podcast is going crazy. We've had almost 200,000 downloads in the last week just from the podcast. So if you promote the Ziegler Show, that helps us, and it helps us get the word out. And we are spreading the good name of Ziegler Legacy Certification every time we do one. So make sure you tune into that. Go get that. And we will see you soon. So let us know if you're coming in July. We've got space for one more alumni to come in and sit in. We'd love to see you. Thanks, Kanya.
You're welcome.
Everybody give Kanya a round of applause.
If you're here, able to come all week as a guest, as an alumni guest, that you get preference over somebody that can just come for a day or two. Just FYI.
FYI.
But I'd love to see you guys.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.